Okay, so can I cuss on her? So first the topic is this. The current trend or the current name for it right now is vibe coding. I still believe that you can get somebody who doesn't know how to code, you can get a significant amount done. I don't believe that you can just, rebuild Netflix with somebody who doesn't know how to code and everything. Even not even at that larger, stature project, because in real time, as we're setting up and getting ready for this, I saw my cursor agent completely hallucinate and make up, some URL that it was about to connect to my endpoint. I'm like, what the hell is that? and so luckily, when I have some things automated, it goes task by task, step by step, and wait for my approval and everything. Because I literally read everything. I'm like, okay, all right, cool, that's good. I caught that URL. I'm like, what the hell is that? And I asked it. I said, hey, what is that URL from? They were like, oh yeah, my bad. So yeah, let's fix that.
Yeah.
And then it came back.
I like how the AI has to it keeps you on your toes, keeps you alert, because at any given time, like something crazy can happen. What did I have? I was working on. I was trying to get some tests working. Right, I was like, all right, man, I gotta write all these tests. Let me just set up a little structure and have it do it for me. Right. Mm-hmm. Actually, it went through. It looked like it did a great job. It created a bunch of tests. I was like, great, I have tests. They pass. You start looking at the tests, and it's like it started essentially it started cheating. It because it knew the inputs and it knew the outputs of the test, and it started mocking the actual outputs in a way that weren't actually validated. It was just like passing a string from one side of the mock to the actual part of the test. I'm like, wait.
Yeah. High-fiving itself. Basically high-fiving itself.
Yeah, it's like how I'm saying, like, look, I did all the tests. Everything is amazing. I'm such a good AI bot.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, man. It's wild. Definitely keeps you on your toes. My favorite one is when you ask it to do something. Another thing with tests, I'm always doing some I'm trying to use tests to drive the creation of what I'm building now. It will say, you know what? 70% of the tests pass, so the other ones aren't important, and it will just move on. It will just move on and say, you know what? Don't worry about those other ones. It's all good. Mm-hmm. And Claude is it does this a lot. It will just disregard. You have to literally put in there, all tests have to pass. You need to get 80% coverage rate. 80 being anything else is not acceptable. Mm-hmm. Right? Because it would just go through and be like, you know what? Those weren't important. You didn't need those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No big deal. That's crazy. I definitely had it run tests, and the tests failed, and then it's just all done. And then I've had to go back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and be like, oh no, these have to pass. Yeah. These have to pass. So yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to follow along. You still have to follow along a lot, considerably at every step. Is that the way that when I'm vibe coding, at every step I'm checking to see what it did. So if it's something small that I can just see reflected in the UI of whatever I'm working on, that's not a big deal. But something with data transformation, things like that. Let me think. I have to be most attentive on updating something that's existing. So if as you're building an application, going, kind of file by file, when a file is new, that's fine. It builds it. You can test it out, see if it works. But if you add something new, and that requires modification of existing files, that's when those ones specifically, I always go back and check, because I think that, what am I using? Claude, what's the latest Claude model?
Claude Sonnet 4. There's
Claude
Opus.
4.1.
Just 4.
Yeah, I think I'm using Sonnet 4.
Sonnet 4.
So,
yeah.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good in that if it's a new file, it's usually great. It's good to go. But as far as the editing, I still have to double check. I would say about 30% of the time, I still will get things that are off, or a change that breaks something else.
What I heard, I haven't tried this out. Maybe by next time we have a session, I would have tested this. But what folks are saying is they're using Claude Code and Google Gemini CLI at the same time. Because Claude Code is really good at using tools, doing code, actually like solving some of the problems. But Gemini has a really, really big context window, much bigger than Claude. So what folks are doing is using Gemini CLI to plan for Claude, essentially.
Oh.
To have Gemini write the actual plan files for you. So I haven't tried it yet. So
that seems like it's right up your alley. Because the last time that you changed my whole workflow the last time that we talked, honestly. Going the PRD route and then the progress.md file. Don't know why I never thought of that. That's been transformative. That's been great this past week. Keeping track of everything. And then when the context window is getting too large, move it over to that progress file. That way, yeah.
You know what? I credit the RPG games. That's how I learned all that. Save file, man. Yeah, you got save file right before you do your action. You get your save file just in case you make a choice that you want to undo. And I go back. They call that the term is called save scumming. That's what they call it, save scumming. When you use your save file to kind of manipulate the future you want.
All right.
That's
like a Rick and Morty episode.
This is Sekou, you just said something. It's not directed to you. But like I saw some things on TikTok. I didn't realize how big the cheating atmosphere is in gaming. Like that's big business.
Yes.
Custom scripts, modified controllers, just a bunch of these things.
Yeah, that is a whole business, right? Like, just what I used to do back. So I used to play World of Warcraft. I never told you guys this. My confession tape here. But people used to buy gold. They would buy video game gold with money so they can have the most powerful character walking around destroying people with one hit.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they would use real money.
They would use
video game gold.
Real money to buy video game gold.
Now, how does that translate? Is that an army? Is that like Ready Player One when there's like an army of miners somewhere?
Yeah. It's like you'll be walking around, you just seeing someone just, attacking one thing over and over for hours in the same position. You're like, that's a miner.
That's a miner.
That's a miner. Yeah.
So speaking of real money, have you guys seen the big news where Palms Casino Resort in Las Vegas will be opening first ever Uno Social Club.
Uno Social Club. Wow,
They are
that's
bringing Uno to Vegas.
dangerous. That's kind of
That's
dangerous.
That's dangerous.
Look, I'm typically not a gambling man, but I may have to indulge, in this one. I may have to indulge into this one.
I don't think I have the guts. I don't think I do, because I've just seen what Uno does to people.
Oh yeah, I got a cousin I ain't talked to in 16 years because he still got mad. I hit him with that draw 4 back to back.
That's what I'm saying. Uno has to have an equally amount of fights as craps in general. Like a craps game in an alley has basically netted the same amount of fist fights in real life as Uno.
Yeah. You know what? My wife and I, we got Uno. And we said, you know what? We haven't played in a while. Let's play each other. And man, oh man, I felt like we paid for, it had to be like 15 minutes at most before we started arguing about the rules and realized, you know what? We should just put this down. This isn't the one. This isn't the thing to do. It's not the right exercise. We eventually got back to it, but it was months. It was months before we conquered the Uno beast. So
yeah, I have to be honest here. Since this is a trusted space, I've definitely had situations where I'm playing a board game with someone and been nice. Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll keep it going. I'm not going to, hey, you land on Park Place. I got all the hotels. You're fine. I'll give you a pass. And then not having my generosity, when I'm down. Reciprocate. And then, I'm like, that's a real character. Real judge of character right there.
Live in squalor, Monopoly.
I was like, who are you? Who are you again?
I'm going at folks. I'm going at. My mom's birthday is early May, and 1 year I waited intentionally to my mom's birthday to fall on every 4 years. It falls on Mother's Day. So 1 year I waited intentionally for that, just so I can hear what the draw for a card on my birthday.
Wow.
On birthday and Mother's Day.
Wow.
This is the level of patience I'm willing to go to with Uno. So I may have to take this trip
over there. Yeah.
We can have our next meetup in Vegas.
Oh, I'm good.
Why not at the Uno table?
That's a quick flight for me. It's a quick flight. 1 hour. Be right there.
We can figure it out.
I have never been.
Never been to Vegas? Oh, that's even more reason to go.
Yeah.
Maybe find a nice little conference or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, put it around a conference.
Mm-hmm.
Get some no, I can't say that. Anyway, all right. So let's rock and roll. Y'all ready to start?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, man, for another episode of AI with Friends. I am one of your hosts, Marlon Avery. I'll let the fellas introduce themselves. Sekou, kick it off with you.
Hey, how's it going, folks? I'm Sekou, award-winning cloud engineer extraordinaire.
Finally.
Yep. Yeah, looking forward to chatting with everyone. I'll pass it over to Adrian.
Hey, I'm Adrian Green, front-end, back-end engineer for Distro Nation. All-around good guy. Looking forward to talking.
Hey, and I am Marlon Avery, CEO of a company called AI Impact, where we teach artificial intelligence industries and organizations, and then run a company called VoicePath, where we do the AI voice solutions for SMBs. And never forget, I'm a diehard Lakers fan. Any problem with that?
Those are your choices, man.
Oh man, that's funny. All right, so let's start off with violence here. All right, here we go. So let's call this a Windsurf 10-day thriller. OpenAI has turned to Windsurf after Cursor rebuff acquisition talks, dangling a $3 billion bid in front of their noses. The fastest growing IDE, which ARA hit over 100 million. On July 11th, Google DeepMind hired Windsurf CEO Varun Mohan and CTO Douglas Shin in a $2.4 billion reverse acqui-hire licensing Cortex while the OpenAI deal collapsed. 72 hours later, Cognition, the creator of Devin Coding Agent, announced a definitive agreement to acquire Windsurf's remaining team and IP. Windsurf's ARR stood around about 82 million with the 350 enterprise customers. And the saga spotlights, on today's playbook, while engineering talent, it's all over the place. So, Sekou, lead us into this conversation that's up here. We got some, can we call this like AI Love Island?
Pretty much. This is kind of
that's a good title of the episode too.
Yeah, that's a good title. You have to update that. Yeah. It's nuts. It's pretty much Google just walked over and said, "You know what? You're gonna have to pack your bags and leave." That's pretty much what kind of happened, right? This was interesting. I think the beginning of it, like I think everyone thought there was something kind of off. The fact that OpenAI was purchasing Windsurf, knowing that they have this huge deal with Microsoft, the owners of GitHub and VS Code, and the fact that they renamed all of their products after GitHub's product, which is Copilot, right? I would think there'd be something to that, and the fact that they were trying to, acquire them in, I thought that was strange to begin with. But this turn of events, I tell you, the CEO pretty much just getting up and leaving the company and bringing the IP, the licensing with him. Just that's, I don't know. That is I remember stories like this, and when I first got here in Silicon Valley, things like this happening. But man, it just really, if you were someone that was building around Windsurf, which a lot of folks are, because everything's moving so fast. So you're gonna latch on to something thinking it's the gospel, the right way to go. I like Windsurf a lot. I was really happy with it. But now that's gone. It's literally gone. Overnight, less than a couple, less than a week has changed everything for this company and anyone who is a customer of it. So just the advice that I give folks is to hold your beliefs in these products lightly. Be willing to move. Don't put all your eggs in a basket. Spread it around. Have a bunch of things that you try, because there are no winners right now. As long as there are no winners, there's no stability. So you shouldn't treat it like it is. Unless you own the company and you're running it inside of your company, you have no control of your future.
Yeah.
And even that's shaky too, depending on how much money you've raised. So, I think this is. Is it too far to say that this is giving bubble-like crypto energy?
Behavior.
These type of moves and everything, at the peak of things, that we saw CEOs leaving the country and just vanishing, and then people trying to figure out where their money is and everything. We see companies just shut down. We see, companies get acquired. We see federal agencies get involved. Are we entering into like that type of spectrum here? Because what they did is it's not illegal. There's nothing illegal. It's frowned upon, maybe.
It's unethical. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It's not, but you're not about to get prosecuted because, the CEO took like top staff and, went somewhere else and everything. So it's frowned upon and stuff for sure. But Adrian, man, as if you're on this team, even if you're maybe like how many employees did Windsurf have?
About 350. About 350.
Okay.
You could be employee number 26. You've been putting into work and things like that, and just like, oh, how would you feel? Like, it's just like it's a part of the game. Yeah. It's like, man, let's go pull up.
Yeah.
Doesn't that like erode the trust in startups too? Right.
Well, I would say let's look at the core values here. So at Codium, the core value right at the top, empowering users to dream bigger. So you can't get mad. The CEO decides to dream
bigger. You just thought you would be in the dream with them.
Quote, dream bigger. Hey, look,
unfortunately hilarious.
Yeah.
Because I can relate. So the only thing that I can relate to directly with this, when you see losing, maybe you experience a vacuum, a loss of talent at a company, and then you have to go through that. I haven't gone through anything close to what this is, but I did have a manager once that was well loved, really well liked, and he left to go work with another company. But before he did that, he sat us all down, and he just he talked straight to us. He said, "Look, this is what's happening," and of course we're like, "Why? And he's like, "I'm never going to get this opportunity again." I'm like, so and so years old here, This is going to be great for me, and like you can't really say anything to that. That really was just it can't even compare to something like this. How that affects the futures of the people in the company, their whole valuation, the buyout that they were going to get versus how it's playing out now. I mean, now that they sold to what was it, Cognition Labs. It's probably way lower. It's probably it's been undisclosed so far.
So, it was. Wait, hold on. The buyout was it
82 million?
Yeah.
That's
so
82 million. Wow.
From $3 billion to 83 million.
Which
that's
unfortunate.
That hurts. You gotta imagine this too, right? When engineers, I'm sure there's like some engineers who are like maybe they're just getting into the field. They're happy to get a job working at a startup and working on something interesting, right? But it's definitely, in order to get some of these products, I'm sure they have some seasoned folks in there. And you have to make this choice, which is, do I go for someone that's putting money directly in my hand, or do I take this promise of money and put my time toward this? And those people who decide to put their time toward this cause, you gotta you have to believe in the founder. You gotta believe in the mission. You gotta believe in the product in order to sit there and kind of hold and bide your time while that's happening. And these folks, that's a pretty bad deal. That's a pretty bad deal.
Here's an interesting thing about this too as well. I'm putting on my former VC hat here. Right. So July 3rd, Google DeepMind hired Windsurf CTO in a $2.4 billion reverse acqui-hire, licensing core tech while OpenAI deal collapsed. Okay. And then, Cognition, basically acquired them for 82 million or something, right? My biggest question in this, because also I'm trying to look for it and I don't see it, which is also concerning. My biggest question to this is Windsurf raised like about almost like 250 million, right?
As Codium or as Windsurf? Because they renamed the Windsurf in April
Great
2025.
Great question.
So there, yeah.
It says Windsurf's formerly Codium.
Okay.
And so yeah, so the question, because it's no matter what, the money still has to be sent back somewhere. Where's the investors getting their money from? Like, if it's a acqui-hire, if the acqui-hire, and I'm pretty sure Google knows how to get around this, I would guess that all goes to the talent and not back to the investors.
Oh,
if it's an acqui-hire and everything.
Oh, and wouldn't you also be breaking fiduciary duties by doing that? Right? If you're a fiduciary, you have fiduciary duties and you gut the company and licensing to go to the company, that is, I would think there would be some legal ramifications for that.
I would think so too, but if anybody knows how to get around it, it's definitely Google.
Yeah, because they didn't buy the company. They literally just like hired everyone. Like everyone quit, and they hired them. So there's no interaction with the company itself. So those licensing IPs must have been tied to the individuals.
Which is, man, if that's the case, number one, I know those investors are pissed because you're not getting none of your money back. I mean, which it's not expected to get your money back anyway. Everything, but when you seeing a $3 billion bid kind of going around, you're already having that expectation. At least you're going to double your money, stuff in that. And so, and then to get acquired for 82 million, you're not getting none of that back. Because also that means if for 82 million, that means that all going to debt. That means also those employees are not getting nothing either.
Nope. Oh, what? Yeah, I was looking at their investors from each of their rounds to see if Google or Google Ventures was in there or something. Nope. Mm-hmm. Kleiner Perkins, Green Oats, General Catalyst. Yeah, they all got burned.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah. So basically, that means that Kleiner Perkins, they basically had whatever they had was worthless now. Like, because you said it's everyone quitting Windsurf and then joining the Devon team.
I mean, you could do something if you're acquiring like the enterprise customers, you could do something there. But it's like if you're a customer of that service and you're like reading in the news that the top talent went elsewhere, I would imagine you're a little concerned, a little worried and stuff. Now.
Yeah. So the Codium, the merge into Devon, that was an acquisition. So they paid money for Windsurf. I don't think it's anywhere near. I assume it's nowhere near the investment that went into it.
No, not because it's the investment. I think it was like a little bit under like a $250,000 or something like that. So yeah, you got to be.
So what do you think? Do you think that this has anything to do? Because say like just looking at the timeline here, if they enter talks in April 2025 to be bought, after they report that Bloomberg reports the talks, Anthropic cuts access in June.
Well, once they knew that they were being acquired by OpenAI, which is their direct competitor.
Yeah.
They're like, nope, we're not going to have integrations from your IDE directly into our system while you are working with our you're part of OpenAI.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And during that time, there were some workarounds where you could still bring a key or hook a key up to Claude, or hook a key up for into Windsurf for Claude access. But do you think that that had anything to do with the CEO and co-founders' overall, I don't know, expectations or value themselves to the Windsurf product?
I do think, at least from one of the reports I was reading, it sounds like the relationship with Microsoft actually weighed a little bit more on this deal than was originally thought. And how they compete against VS Code was definitely being brought into the conversation. And there was some worry from the CEO that that their technology would just get absorbed into VS Code itself.
Yeah. Okay. So it wasn't a good deal for them. But I mean, they saw that as, and that's the thing, them being at the top, you know, and there we go with the unfairness, really, that's kind of, you know, part of the game here, where if you're at the top, you're the CEO, you see everything happening.
Yeah, you're making the deals.
Yeah, you're making the deals. So, that's unfortunate.
Speaking of unfortunate, Microsoft CCO, their chief commercial officer, Judson Atloff, have said that he basically saved the company about $500 million by doing about 9,000 layoffs in call center. You know, from Copilot, Power Automation, you know, doing internal briefing. It says Microsoft's third workforce is cut. This is the third workforce is cut of 2025, bringing up a total of 15,000, despite the record quarter profits. It says this timing reveals the questions around AI efficiencies. You know, also too, you know, how much should industries be how much individuals be worried about this current state of growth and layoffs? It seems like it should be. It seems like it's happening at the same time. Adrian, let's start with you, man. What's your thoughts here on Microsoft saving about $500 million by doing 9,000 layoffs?
Well, I think it's two things, possibly. And I wanted you guys' feedback on this. Like, I understand that, number one, it seems like the call center is the most, I hear about that the most as the thing that AI is replacing. The industry that AI is replacing is call centers. Just first and foremost, we, you know, as coders, you know, we kind of realize even at the, you know, beginning of the conversation here about how, you know, just do the hallucinations and BS that coding agents generate, you know, coders are pretty good for now, but the call centers are sensitive. But I also say that with those layoffs, I would be interested to know if they experienced any kind of bloating during the pandemic, because that has to, I wonder if that has a piece to this as well. It's not just about AI automation. It's about cutting spending down to pre-pandemic levels. Because, and I say this because, you know, I listened to the All In podcast, and, you know, a couple of weeks back, they were raving about, well, not raving, but just ranting about the, you know, big, beautiful bill and how the spending is still staying post-pandemic, or staying too close to that those post-pandemic numbers, where, you know, ideally, in order to cut things, you should be reverting back to the way that things were pre-pandemic. So I think that it may be a little bit of both here, and that I wonder if the call center situation like expanded further during the pandemic. Like there was more investment into that, and, you know, now that we're out of it, it's like it's not really needed as much anymore. But, you know, so I was just curious about that. Like if it's not only about AI automation, but it is about returning to pre-pandemic numbers.
Yeah.
Pre-pandemic.
No, I think I know what really was behind all this. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Thoughts.
Windows 11.
Goodbye.
I think that's what happened. They started their forced upgrades to Windows 11 for everyone. So now, there's a lot less Windows 10 out there that needs to troubleshoot, and I feel like you're going to start all over there because Windows 11 isn't as friendly for everyone to use. So, but
do we see a push? Yeah. Do we think that real actual call centers are going to be in demand again?
God no, goodness no. I would say
not. Yeah.
I would say no. I'm trying to think 6 steps ahead. I would say no though. I would tell you why. I think Adrian, I like the point that you made there of like, okay, this could have been like a reverse inflation from the pandemic, so as well, and so it could have been a part of that, and so I think that's a good point. Something there. I'm gonna add to that. I'm gonna say also, universally, call centers is not needed as much because people are asking ChatGPT how to do those things you would typically do in the call centers. So you're just So going back to like your Windows 10, an example, everything, okay, hey, how do I, update, change, add, whatever it may be? And typically a lot of people will just call the call center to do so, but now you can just ask a model.
Copilot. Yeah, Copilot's right there built into 11.
I wish I had that. Because I remember when I was a Windows system admin back in the day, I remember I was doing everything not to have to call that call center. Everything, because I remember that was a cost, and really, it kind of was a ding at my pride too, as well. You don't want to have to stoop so like I'm just at my wit's end. I'm at all of my resources are expired that I have to call I have to call that 1-800 number and get someone to walk me through this group policy thing or something like that.
It's
oh my!
It's
God.
I
got a full flashback just came. Did you got a full flashback? Full flashback. Back in the day when if your license key did not work and you did it 3 times, you would have to call the call center.
It would lock up.
God. Yeah, it would lock up. You're like, I got to call the call center. I guess we're here for 45 minutes now.
Yeah.
Also, calling the call center is like the man version of looking at the instructions before you try to start building it.
or just asking for directions. Period. You don't want to have to.
Oh man. No, I think the only thing that kind of bothers me about this, I feel like they're boasting about the layoffs.
Yeah.
That too.
I think that's the only thing that kind of like bothered me about it. It feels like they're boasting about the layoffs. As well. And also too, the other half that I don't like about this, we've seen so many times where, particularly in the tech industry, where the middle to little companies will just follow the big companies without, really thinking through if that's the right use case for us. That's the right thing to do. And so, like, I remember like when the pandemic hit, and I was talking to the CEO, and they was like, "Gosh, you're like, oh man, yeah, I think I gotta do layoffs. Just like this is gonna be tough." I'm like, you have 15 employees.
Yeah.
What are you doing layoffs? Look, you don't have hundreds, thousands, where like you really have to cut down to. You got 15 employees. And I saw even at that small level that people were just following the signal of what other big companies were doing without just really focusing on. And also too, this person was getting their information from the VCs, and the VCs was just reacting to what the big companies were doing. As a person, how can I say this respectfully? As a person who worked in venture capital, you got your big boys for sure. You got your A16Zs, your Tristan Horowitz. You got your Google Ventures, everything. But you have some VCs out here that have no fucking clue what they're talking about. They just have a check. Everything. I'll give you an example. I was on a call. I can't remember the name of the structure of the call, but basically it was on a call where basically it was a bunch of VCs got together. And this is not like downing anybody, but this is just real. This kind of things that bother me when people are making decisions that impacts lives, and you still have no clue what you're doing and we're talking about. I was on a call, and this is like first year of COVID, probably like back in near like right before Thanksgiving type of thing. I was on a call, and it was a group of venture capitalists that got together, and the point of the call was for them to get together to share information, resources, strategies, tips, and things like that, right? It's a coalition. That's what it is. It's like a venture coalition. And so I was asked to join the call, and it was interesting. And everybody has their own skill set. You hire people to do so, to take over certain things, to do certain things, everything. Everybody has their own skill set and everything, right? The point of the call was to share with the entire coalition of how to start up a Zoom call.
Okay. What? These people invest in technology?
Yes.
Wow.
Millions of dollars. Shit.
Was it a fancy Zoom call?
No. Yeah. When somebody said, I'm gonna share my screen here, I heard at least 7 people say, wait, you can do that?
Oh no. Oh no.
Man. Again, everybody has, and everybody has their different things, so some of these people could have been just straight finance and things like that. But I would imagine they're not. And I know some people, who witnessed stuff on that call, but these are also the same people who are telling technology leaders, spaces, CEOs, after they invested in, to do certain shifts, changes, in trying to influence everything. And just a lot of people have no clue what they're talking about. Now, some do. I'm not saying the all, but I found my uncomfortable piece of the market that they just, a good portion doesn't.
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable because you're seeing how their lack of knowledge could really be detrimentally impact the employees of the people that they, invest in. Would you say that that's like, if you're an employee, a potential employee that's going to work for a company, would you say part of due diligence, would you advise that they look at the investors to maybe, I don't know, do some kind of like analysis of whether or not they know what they're doing? Maybe
that is that I'm nowhere near going to take credit for this. I'm gonna shout out the person who taught me that that's what he does and that's how he picks his companies. Nick Caldwell.
Batman.
Yeah. Nick Caldwell shared with me he picks his companies like VCs pick their investments. And he will go into a deep dive on who's their current VCs, who their like all this different things. And so, but he act as a VC, as he's looking to join a company, not as an employee.
You gotta, if you're remember I was talking about that category of people who get to choose, like you have to do that. You have to, because you could be leaving money on the table if you don't do that level of due diligence on there. You see the Windsurf folks, like, I don't know how you're gonna predict that, but like you see the level of risk, this is the level of risk that you're up against. But you gotta, that makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting, so for sure. But it's also and all right, I'm not trying to go off here. combining, all right, combining the first conversation with Windsurf, along with the conversation of last week of how Meta, was, probing, like approaching everybody's, talent, top talent, just like that, right? This is why, for somebody who's practitioners or stuff in the space, it's very, very hard to listen to quote unquote thought leaders, because quote unquote thought leaders was basically telling everybody to stop coding like 2 years ago. Like, there's no point. Like, this is not going to be a thing. This is going away within, 17 months, and everything. Yeah. We're just not going to be a thing. And here we go, 17 months later, these talent is getting NBA contracts. They're getting NBA professional sport level contracts. I'm not saying that's sustainable, and I'm not saying that that's going to happen over like the next, 100 years or whatever it may be. But this is also too why I go back to saying, like, I don't. It's challenging for me when people ask me like, "Oh, Marlon, like, give me the prediction of this, and what do you think is?" I'm like, bro, just start digging into it. And once you start to see things, you'll start to see patterns. You'll start hearing the news say, "Oh no, we're about to, fully go into autonomous agents that they'll be able to bring for application." And you like, man, I just saw this shit hallucinate 30 seconds ago.
Yeah. Like, where are you seeing that?
Right. The power of being a practitioner is something into as well. And so, I'm gonna bring up some articles. I'm not gonna say the people's name, but I'm gonna bring up a few articles next week of just how many people are saying just stop coding. Like, it's no point.
Stop coding, yeah.
Like, it's no point. And yeah,
I think we're good. I think the main story that I get around the hallucinations and the state of AI engineering, or AI augmented engineers. I might actually be able to put that on a t-shirt. Just looking at the that name, AI augmented engineers. The state of that, where what you saw, what I saw with the AI hallucinating on certain parts and being diligent around reading its output and making sure that it's doing what it needs to do. That, I think, is what's turning into the new context engineering discipline that's coming out, right? Which is structuring your questions and what you're asking it to do in pieces where there is high confidence in it actually completing the linear task, and then giving it another one, and just making sure you're giving it enough pieces so that it can go through its actual process. But I think it's almost like when the hallucinations start, I usually contribute that to like a couple of different causes. One cause is I've run out of context window. Another cause is I gave it too much freedom in my request, right? And it started, pattern matching way well outside of what I was asking it to do, right? That, or the window of work that I gave it was too big, right? But as we kind of get good at understanding the different phases of this, what we're going to see is like the cyborg coders that are emerging. I think that's the state we're going to be in. It's going to be more universal. Remember Universal Soldier? Yeah. I think that's more the future we're seeing, right? It's not Terminator. It's more Universal Soldier first, and then Terminator. And that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. Classic movie there. So when it comes, so you talked about the context engineering side of it. Now, I don't know if this is on our topic list today. I don't think it is, but with something like what AWS, the IDE that AWS is trying to release, it seems like that's something that's more focused towards that, like, or mitigating problems like that, where you are more, it's an IDE that is equally possibly focused on PRDs and diagramming and like really scoping out your product or whatever that you're trying to engineer in order to keep things on the appropriate rails. Do you see, something like that? Maybe, of course, we'll know when we get it. But I know that since the last time that we talked, using that approach has helped definitely me a lot better. And keeping my agent on track of what it's doing. So
hold on. What's the direct question, Adrian?
Oh, do you see that as, I forgot even what we were talking about. We were talking about Cairo. Yeah. We were talking about that, but I was, the topic, I'm trying to think about how I was relating this back to the main topic. What topic are we on right now? Sorry.
Oh, we're talking about the loss of jobs and Microsoft's lost Microsoft's profits and the loss of jobs.
Gotcha. And how that relates to the need for engineers.
Yeah.
And everything like that, and us being safe. So that was just a side track. That was just a side question.
Yeah.
Of, do you see IDEs using that methodology being beneficial and maybe helping out with that problem of hallucination?
Yeah. I did open up Cairo while we were talking earlier. So
also, explain what Cairo is before you continue.
Yeah, so Cairo is a clone of VS Code, like all things are, because no one starts from scratch. But it's built specifically for vibe coding, in addition to doing regular coding. So, like, one of the first things I saw is like they have Claude Code has like this file where you tell it the instructions, you tell it how you want it to behave, you can tell it how what your coding standards are. Well, Cairo does something a little bit different where it does that part just fine. It's made for you to plan first and then code second in that order. But it has this thing called steering instructions that I don't understand yet. And when I open it up to one of my projects that I had that I did do some Claude work on, it automatically just started indexing the whole thing. It just started going through and analyzing. I didn't tell it to do one thing yet, and it's analyzing the whole entire code base right now. So I am baffled by how this works. This looks like something very different. So I think by the time we have our next video, this might end up being another topic. Wow, it's called steering documents. Oh no, it's literally doing everything I just told you guys how to do. It had a button to hit for steering documents, and it created a product overview document of my whole code base. It created a TechMD file that has the technology stack and the commands that are associated with my project. It created a structure file that has the directory structure and what they do, what each directory does. And it just did that while we were talking.
Yeah.
I just used my Claude account. I didn't give it my key.
Yeah, I think to answer your question, I think we will see more of this. Everything from multiple different platforms, outside of AWS. I think on the business side is this helps them manage and also to manage the cost better of compute. if you're able to kind of get everybody online to have the coding agent perform a certain way, and so this helps that sector,
That's a good
beneficially,
point.
and so I think, Claude Code are kind of started already. You got plan mode, you got build mode, same thing with cursor and everything. They're just kind of putting in an IDE, so like a CLI and everything. And so, but I think that flow, helps them kind of do that. I will be very, very. I'm almost sure now is that adoption will also start to lean over to just like the everyday consumer side that people who use like ChatGPT or so on and so on. Everything. So, and it kind of already started a little bit. So when somebody asks for an Excel such and everything, it'll probably revert you to a planning mode and ask you more additional questions. And it kind of does that with O3 and different things like that. But if you can do that more and get everybody kind of like on one page or anything, then you're kind of able to like not have like this rainbow of like different pricing of how everything is being flown across, because everybody's figuring out how to use it in real time. So you're just going to keep trying to put stuff, and then all of a sudden, things break. Okay, this not working anymore. Hey, this doesn't work. Okay, I hate this one. I love that one. Everything, and now you kind of get into a more flow with this type of approach.
Yeah. Well, we definitely need to talk about this Cairo thing. It's just doing some things over here that's really baffling. I'm not touching the keyboard right now. And it is providing me structure and information about my project that I didn't ask for, but I appreciate.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that as engineers, I do feel like we have more time. It's not infinite. We have more time in a game than the call centers in this situation. That is definitely, I would say, the low hanging fruit. That is definitely an unsafe position to be in. It also is it's work that
it's repetitive.
It's repetitive. The skill level is low. It's just different. There's like workforce management people and things like that. There are things that actually require some skill set to navigate within call centers. Not everything is just answering the phone. It's the systems around how that's measured and all that.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah. But that's what?
Ran into a unique use case the other day.
But remember, at some point in time, there were operators that if I wanted to call someone, I would pick up my phone and someone had to like patch me in to connect to someone else, right? That used to be at some point used to be the thing that was someone's job. There was like a whole union, I think, around that too at some point.
Right.
So switchboard, like there was a switchboard union.
Yep.
So, they're gonna definitely start low, and actually, software jobs are. I wouldn't say they're not. We're immune. Like the junior level positions, with coding illiteracy or AI illiteracy is going to be a huge challenge. And that's you have to be augmenting right now.
Real quick, I told I did a keynote session, and I won't say where, but I did a keynote session at a well-known university, and students, staff, and stuff was there. In front of their students and staff, I told them that if this curriculum is not showing you how to code in partnership with coding agents, I will leave now. You might as well go join a coding bootcamp, like right now. Everything, or self-teach yourself, like maybe, because you're arguably 3 years behind the workforce. As soon as you graduate, and stuff. And so if your goal is to like work in the tech industry, I do think, and I think what's unfortunate about this too as well is that I remember when I first started learning how to code, I had people telling me, as a software engineer who wants to grow and scale, never join a bank and never join the government. No, bank, government, and healthcare. Because that skill set doesn't grow.
That's where tech jobs go to die. That's what he said.
That skill set doesn't grow, and so and I'll be interested because I've been kind of like wondering this as well. I'd be interested to see what happens. That I do believe the rise of job opportunities right now is particularly. Let's circle this around engineers. I go 2 levels. Engineers who are not using AI agents, coding tools, or anything to deploy. I think the rise in opportunity right now is tech adjacent companies. Meaning, an early engineer who might have got laid off at Uber will be able to dominate at Budweiser, who's trying to create some type of like tech, or back-end service, where it may be. Tech adjacent companies. My concern with that is that I think eventually, and maybe sooner than later, tech adjacent companies are going to catch up very quickly on the talent side and say, okay, why aren't these guys using coding agents? Because these tech adjacent companies are already using, or some of their employees are already using things like ChatGPT. So it's only a matter of time, for that kind of like conversation, that lingo, that thought process to mirror over even to in the technical world. And so going back to what you just said, Sekou, as well, it's just like, if you're not building with in partnership with these, man, bro, it's going to happen fast, it's going to happen quick, and it's not going to be pretty.
And then it's going to be a desert, because there's that aspect of the existing companies changing over, and there's also the next generation. Because if you have the next generation of CEOs coming up with the AI agents already, they're already using those, they're going to be less inclined to hire.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because they can take care, presumably, of a lot. Say if they have the education and the education to do it, and the experience with LLMs and agents, you have to be just as good as they're going to be.
Yeah, I remember it was a CEO. He had I think he had like a design agency or something like that. He would, and this was like 2 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. He was in refusal to hire anybody who wasn't using ChatGPT already. And that was like, that's not even nothing engineering. That's a design agency.
Yeah.
I got a hot take. I have a hot take for our listeners. I would say that if you want to find if you're a developer, you're using a little bit of large language models to do your work, you're dabbling in ChatGPT. I think really the folks that are going to get ahead are the folks that are doing their like weekly builds, building something every week.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing. If you're developer, you can build something every single week with these tool sets. It doesn't have to be shiny. It could be an MVP that does, you know what? Just look at something that is on the Linux application, like LS, whatever. Hey, create LS with this, with context engineering or vibe coding. Create something every week. Find your way on how do you like to actually interact with these tools. Find your style. Do that now. Don't wait until for it to be like mandatory to use these things. By that time, it's too late, because what's already happening is there are folks within every organization that are going to be tasked with
being an AI guy.
An AI guy,
Yeah.
right? Because I know I was the container guy. I was the Kubernetes guy for years when no one else wanted to use these technologies. They weren't interested in these things. And fast forward, like I've got a lot of success. Just the fact that I was the guy to do this grunt work, this hard integration with things. Like now that's being consolidated in different places and organizations. If you're not those folks who are getting practice every day by trying to build it for organization, you got to build it for yourself.
Yep.
Like you have to have your own regiment. You can't wait for your organization to push the tools down to you. You have to go find the tools, use it, and find your style.
You know, this reminds me that lingo. Not saying it's the same thing, but that lingo reminds me of that first year, first 2 years of when React came out. It was like everybody switching everything, to React components, and so that lingo reminds me of that for sure.
Oh yeah, remember back in our Ruby days. Has anyone ever do Ruby before?
Yeah, that was my first language.
Yeah,
I never did.
Yeah, Ruby on Rails.
Ruby on Rails, and they had these books that were like, how to write. Was it test-driven development? There was books on style. There was like large books on just style, how to write Ruby, because someone found the rhythm. Someone had enough experience doing to just get this book out of there. It was so early on, right?
The MVC.
Yes, the MVC. That's where it got. That's where it really, really got popular and took off, right? Like. But yeah, it's the same thing. The same things kind of happen. Like I said, not every organization is going to be. You're just going to let it run wild, and deal with the consequences of letting AI run wild throughout the organization. Folks are just going to have like 5 guys. Those 5 guys will be able to write their ticket wherever they go, but you will not, because you do not have access to practice.
I think what's interesting too as well is like even with the 5 guys analogy, there's already companies who've been kind of practicing like that strategy. Like for example, like Amazon. Amazon has been practicing that strategy of like having 3, 4, or 5 engineers on a team to go build X. So like I remember I was being recruited to the team that was going to build, was going to deploy Alexa into cars. And that was one of the things that came up, and it was super excited. We were talking, and it was like, yeah, you'll be one of 5 engineers. I'll say, hey, wait, what did you just say? Anything? She was like, yeah, you're gonna be one of 5 engineers who's going to lead this project and to put Alexa into all cars. And man, and so teams like that is, I would imagine, can really, really, do some interesting stuff when they already kind of have that structure in play.
Yeah. I got so many memories of this, because when you're in that position and you are, the advocate for the new software, things like that, not only do you have to be good at it, but folks will come with commercial versions of that. They'll come with underbaked things. They'll come with things that may even be better what you're building, and you have to either somehow be able to either pivot for what is, better than yours, or defend what you got. It's a tough position, but you know what? It really helps create, in my opinion, it creates really great engineers for that process of. It's a unique experience. The challenging thing is you create winners and losers to the process. And that's the part I never liked. Even when I was in the position, I would make it a point to spread my knowledge around, because I never liked the idea of just having, just sitting there for all the cars and everyone around you is just slowly watching this bus about to hit them.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a good guy. Because there's a lot of people who, they will be the information silo. They hold on to that with an iron fist.
Oh, yeah.
I think I learn better in groups. I learn better when sharing. I mean, this is how this podcast started, everything. And it's funny enough, I don't know if I saw it, I just sent that email out today for like a bi-weekly call, because it's just like I learn better in groups. and it gets to that point, and this is, I say, this feels, some attributes feel very familiar with like React, but like I learned better in groups. And it gets to the point where like even now, like people have been asking me questions, and people's been asking me questions at the same time as people, like Sekou, my boy Ron, other people has been showing me stuff that's been blowing my mind too as well. And so it gets to that point. I'm like, look, guys, I can't keep going back and forth. Like, let's just, hop on a group call. Let's just, start a community or something like that. Sharing and stuff like that. But yeah, I think we're definitely at that point and stuff now, particularly on the engineering side.
Office hours.
Yeah.
Office hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, here we go. Amazon will unveil an AI agent marketplace. And on July 15th, that's tomorrow? Oh, that's tomorrow.
That is tomorrow.
As an inaugural partner. Startups can list autonomous agents. Enterprises will browse, deploy, and pay through AWS, while Amazon takes a modest fee. I'm ready to share stuff there. It said this move pits an AWS against OpenAI GPT Store and Google's Agent Hub, signaling that the cloud wars are shifting from model supremacy to distribution control. I'll start with this one. I can see it. I can see it, and I can't. I can see it being successful, and I can see it not working. The reason I say that is because I did a presentation. I don't remember what month it was, but it was like early. It was like 3 years ago or something like that. I did a presentation basically how GPT was going to work before GPTs was created, but before OpenAI announced the GPT store. And I was showing like how these agents and everything was going to work, and they would have personalities to execute set tasks and everything, and they would be really good working on and executing set tasks and stuff. And then 6 months later, OpenAI announced the GPT store, and I was ecstatic, excited, and all those things. And as someone who teaches, throughout this country, I would say, man, there's still a very, very large amount of people who don't know or use the GPT store.
Mm-hmm.
A very large amount, don't know what GPTs are, don't know what the GPT store is. Hey, how do you access it? I've never seen it before. All those things. I think on a free model, I think it doesn't even show up. Anything even as an option or whatever. And so it's hard to see that. And then I haven't seen Google's Agent Hub, but I've seen Microsoft's. Microsoft's is very useful, but it's heavily technical. You definitely have to have someone who's tech friendly or who knows how to code to be able to maximize it. In those use cases. And so, and then another thing too as well, I wonder how the rise around MCPs is how this going to impact, this type of thing, like a marketplace too as well. And so I can see it working, and also I can literally see it going either way. And I think if it is a success, it's going to be a minor success. I don't think it's going to be anything game changing, just because I think the education around it and just people are just switching, building, trying, just like it's like you said, the market is not validated or solidified and stuff yet.
Yeah, I find the MCP world is it's a little strange, right? Because like you have some MCPs that are like self-contained applications. You run it on your system as a Docker container. It does some things, Then you have like MCP agents that's like a wrapper around an API server.
Yep.
So you call localhost, but then localhost calls a API server that's somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of it's like it does make it like it is a little confusing, and the fact that I understand the usefulness of MCPs as tools and things like that, but the implementations that I'm seeing are, I feel like we can be doing a little bit better with some of this technology.
It's 50-50. It
It's
works
50.
well sometimes or it doesn't.
Yeah. And to put a marketplace around it right now, unless you're the only person I think that has a really good foothold in this, really, even though MCPs are great, and I love the ones I'm using right now. OpenAI. OpenAI is the one place that really has control over their marketplace because, one, the GPTs are not just useful; they require OpenAI to work. They require it. You cannot run a GPT without it. Just like Apple, you can't run a Apple package on another system. It only works on the Apple system, right? So you control your ecosystem, but a MCP marketplace doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like even like Docker Hub, that's another like a good idea. That's technically a marketplace in some way.
Well,
right?
hold on. Is this an MCP marketplace or an agent?
It's an agent marketplace.
Agent marketplace, yeah.
Yeah.
So MCPs will probably be a part of it, but it'll be an agent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's an agent marketplace. Okay, so agents are predefined workflows, right? That can execute a task from beginning to end. So I can have an agent that goes through and maybe looks at a Slack post and sends some data here and does something else that's interesting, right? I call it a name. That is what they're actually going to be saving there. Unless the agent only runs on Bedrock, then I can see that being very useful to Amazon. If that's like they tie Bedrock into this marketplace in some way, like how they can really get a foothold in it. But if it's just a generic construct, like a N8N container or something like that, or N8N workflow, like that won't do it. So
yeah. Amazon's stingy, so I can almost imagine they would run on Bedrock.
Yeah, it's going to be Bedrock and Anthropic. They're going to run Anthropic and Bedrock on the agent marketplace.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Oh, so they got And you know what? To tell the truth, Bedrock does make this. It's a pretty smooth experience as long as you have an AWS account. If you're already in the ecosystem and you interact with the AWS keys and all that good stuff, it's pretty slick,
All right.
So they put it all together. I probably would definitely end up using it, especially if I have to use this. If I can use this Cairo thing, I feel like if they tie all that together, this might be a good experience.
Yeah, they're doing some good. I mean, I think I'm optimistic about it because I didn't know this, but AWS is an investor in Anthropic.
Oh yes, yes.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
there's some rumors about.
How much money?
So maybe this is like strategic there to maybe bring in some ROI.
Oh yeah.
To that investment, and I'm familiar with AWS.
4 billion. Oh no, 8 billion. Sorry, 8 billion.
Ooh, that's wild.
Oh, that is a lot of money. They are they are highly invested in Anthropic's success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For now, because we see what happened with OpenAI and Microsoft, or we're seeing what's happening with OpenAI and Microsoft.
Exactly, but that's a late mover advantage potentially.
Yeah.
Because I thought you were talking about the marketplace, but the late mover being like you're seeing all the mistakes that everyone else is making with their agent marketplaces, because Microsoft has one too, right?
Microsoft has one. Yeah.
And I feel like some folks have written articles about this, but it looks like definitely AWS really likes running the hardware for this stuff. They don't want to be in the business of just tying themselves just to one company. I'm sure that like they're getting a lot of like great things out of their models, the Nuva models that they have, based off of that relationship they have with Anthropic. But like, yeah, I think I would assume that they would want to like they want to sell their hardware. that's their goal, right? The anything that gets you using their stuff, the better.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully they'll lower the prices for everyone.
Yeah.
They do. They do reduce prices. That's one thing that does happen.
Yeah, and that's why I'm just like I'm optimistic about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could do it right.
Yeah.
And with the MCPs being tied in, you know, that's where it gets a little bit iffy. I mean, hopefully they have
that's too
security and you know, a real good auditing around that, so that you just can't add in any MCP within your AWS environment.
Yeah.
Agent.
Adrian, did you comment on this one?
Which one?
What we just talked about, Agent Marketplace.
I thought we were talking about the Agent Marketplace, and then
I was making sure you have like your full chance or anything. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sam Altman has officially delayed the company's first open weight model, citing that the need for additional safety tests and high risk review just days before they plan to release. Developers now question whether the open will translate to full weight access or whether there be repeated slips handled into genuinely open source, rivals like Meta or Mistral. Everything. Adrian, start with you, man. What's your thoughts stuff here?
Well, first I had to figure out what an open weight model is. So what an open weight model is, it's different than like an open source model. So like when a model is open source, you get everything. You get the training data, you get the code, you get the weights architecture. But open weight is just limited to those weight parameters that are derived from the training data. So you're not getting the full access to what's going on. When it comes to something like OpenAI, I know that it's frustrating to the end user, but because there's so much money that's on the line and the implications that somehow if they released an open source model that it could be reverse engineered off of in some way, maybe maybe just through the weights, you'll be able to maybe see something there that can be reverse engineered, therefore remove OpenAI's competitive advantage. So it just seems like they're being extra careful with it, but in the meantime, it's everyone's got an open source model out there. As far as their competitors, I feel like does Anthropic have an open source model?
No, they don't.
No. But
the other person that has
like
open
Meta
source model is Meta. It's open source, but there are some restrictions on it. Like if you make money off of it, then they would like some of that.
They ain't that open.
Ain't that open.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. Would you be able to fine tune this in this open weight model, or would that be limited as well?
I would assume you would be able to do it. You would have to see what licenses they put on it, right?
Yeah.
So it may be like Llama. Well, Llama kind of gives you everything, right? But I think the idea is that you should be able to run this model outside of OpenAI systems.
Yeah,
and build from it. So that's like the thing they're aiming for. So I'm kind of curious what they're trying to do. I wonder if they're going to create a model that has it distilled for running on smaller devices. They're with the acquisition of John Ivy's company and the talk about devices and things like that. That might be a thing to do because at the end of the day, like if you want folks to build software or, things for your hardware, like you do have to get it in developers' hands. You need to get folks experienced with the technology. So it might be part of that, part of a grand strategy. But it's so funny. As I'm talking to you, I just looked at my email. I'm not sure if you looked at your email recently, Marlon.
Which one?
Did you get your Tesla now with AI?
I did not. Wait, hold on. Breaking news.
Breaking news. Our latest software version of 2025-26 brings Grok AI to your cabin. Oh man. Not sure how I feel about this. Not sure how I feel about this. I didn't ask for this feature.
To enable open app launcher on your vehicle's touchscreen and tap Grok.
I don't know. I don't like it. Send it back.
Yeah.
You can
I was
now,
thinking the other day. Oh, sorry, good.
No, we'll actually, this is, thank you, Seiko. We'll use this as a rapid fire round. Real quick, it says you can now talk to Grok, your AI companion built by XAI, hands-free in Tesla's vehicle. You can choose Grok's voice and personality, ranging from storytelling to unhinged, to enhance convenience while you're on the go.
Now, why do I need this?
I was thinking the other day, so I was thinking about the benefit of that. And when you're looking at, like, say you're navigating in your Tesla, are you able to just ask it, okay, don't give me the next direction, give me the one that's like what is the last street I'm going to turn on, or something like that, like something deep within the direct.
That was one of my first questions. That was one of my first questions because I'm thinking of use case.
Can it see? Can it see with all of these cameras?
So watch this. Yeah. Can I use Grok for navigation or voice controls? No. Grok does not issue commands to your Tesla. You can still use Tesla voice commands, which is not good. And so, no, to answer your question, it won't have navigation controls as of right now.
Well, I mean, not necessarily controls, but just access to your navigation, like where you're going. Like, can it see that and then give me information about that? Like, say if it could tie into the directions that you have already pulled up, and then like, okay, what exit did I get on? I mean, or what was that road? You can ask it about maybe a past direction or something like that. I don't know.
Are my interactions with Grok private and secure? Interactions with Grok processed by XAI in line with the privacy notice. Conversations remain anonymous to Tesla. We're not limited. We're not linked to you or your vehicle. Is this more? Is this another? Is more training data for Grok?
Yeah, is this Big Brother?
No, I don't want to use my AMD processor. I don't want it to do that. Okay,
I want it to focus on keeping me alive.
Yeah, there you go. One job. I don't want you don't be hallucinating in my car. You can hallucinate on my phone, but not in my car. Not there.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. That's next. Another rapid round. Meta buys voice AI startup Play AI. It's planning on 2 expansions. Meta multi-model push. Real quick, Sekou, thoughts stuff from there.
I don't think I haven't looked at Play AI. If it helps the what you call it, the voice functionality to get it closer to like 11 labs and things like that, That'd be a welcome change. Of all the voice selections that you can choose, the meta ones tend to be the worst selection. They all sound like, remember Microsoft Sam?
Whoa.
What does it stand for?
That was so.
Microsoft Sam. It's like a couple steps above Microsoft Sam.
Okay.
It stands for, what is spam? It's like speech something, whatever. But anyway.
What products was Sam in?
It was like in Windows 95, I think.
Ugh.
Yeah, I think it was like Windows 95. Anyway, I'm old. But it's really bad. It's really bad. The variations aren't great at all. So if that helps them with that, that'd be interesting. But at the end of the day, that they're going to do some interesting things in Instagram or WhatsApp with voice. It's going to happen.
Yeah, if you like.
Was it as software automatic mouth? Is that what it stood for? Because that's what Google AI mode is giving me.
I think so.
That's a terrible name. All right, here.
That's
next.
What? This was 80. This is 88 or 82. Sorry. Good.
Next wrap around. Google's VO3 now has the capability of turning photos into 8-second videos. Adrian, what's your thoughts here?
I've tried other photo to video generators to much delight. I just tried the regular standard Google Gemini image to video creator, and it worked great. I mean, I am curious to try this one, but it wants me to sign up for the Pro Supreme package or whatnot in order to get it through the Flow AI. So there's a little bit of there's some gates around it that's preventing me from I don't really have the incentive currently to climb that gate, but just because the existing products are pretty good. I mean, it's pretty good. Gemini does a great job of it. So that's how I feel. I don't know how much better this is than that.
Jacob, your thoughts?
Yeah, that Google AI Ultra thing will never again do that. You know what?
Yeah.
The reason why I won't do it is not the one that you think. The reason I will never do it again, because it breaks my YouTube family package. And then like half of my household had to watch commercials through the whole trial of that. So
oh no. I'm glad you made it through.
Yeah, I survived. I'm still here.
Wow. That's tough, man. I can't stand YouTube, man. YouTube commercials. If you have YouTube commercials, man, that's no. It's the one I have to. I'm paying for that.
Yeah, that's
even YouTube TV is getting to the point where it's like, come on, with their commercials.
Yeah.
HBO Max too. It's getting to that point.
Yeah, that's true love right there. By the way,
you know who does
commercials for someone? Just saying.
You know who does do a good job of commercials? Netflix.
Netflix has commercials?
Non-existent.
Non-existent. Yeah, they do. Because they have now they have new plans, and I downgraded it. And everything. My price because like everybody else have 100 subscriptions for everything and everything, and so I downgrade, and it has commercials, and it shows like it's in my experience, it shows like maybe like 1 or 2 commercials per hour.
Yeah. Oh, it's not bad at all.
1
or 2 commercial breaks and everything, but even the breaks are like maybe 1 commercial or so.
That's pretty cool.
That HBO Max be like 1 of 4. You're playing 1 of 4 commercials. I'm like, wow.
Have you watched anything on BET lately?
No. BET Plus? Nah, man. I'm like,
76.
that's crazy. That's crazy. I might as well watch Tubi. 76.
All right. So, all right, man. Wrapping up this episode of AI Love Island. This is we'll have our contestants and voting system next week. Be sure to tune in. But I haven't watched the show at all, but you hear about it everywhere.
Clips.
Yeah.
The clips.
The
clips.
I
haven't seen like a lot.
Hold on.
I haven't seen like a lot of clips. I just had a lot of friends around me who's been watching it, and so they've been trying to force me to watch it. I'm like, no. Everything. I haven't watched. What's the segment? Like, what's that category called? Is it like live
reality?
What's reality?
Yeah, reality dating.
Reality dating. Yeah.
I haven't watched one of those since Flavor of Love.
That's been a while. That's been a while.
That's good. Yeah. I haven't maybe so Dag, so you weren't even around for I Love New York or A Chance at Love? Jeez, go down the line. Oh man. What about what was that? Flavor Flav and Brigitte.
Does College Hill count?
Oh no, that doesn't count. That's
like the original.
That's not a dating show. College Hill was good though.
It was a lot of dating like components on there.
Yeah. It wasn't the main the main plot of the show though. College Hill was good though.
All right, cool. All right, man, let's close this out, man. Marlon Avery. You can follow me on all platforms at I am Marlon Avery. Also to the podcast, you can follow the podcast too, as well as AI with Friends podcast on all platforms. Adrian
_Poupon on all platforms. You can find me on Discord if you have any questions. It was great talking to you. Hopefully next week we can talk more about how my world has been expanded through the MCP life. I missed out on that chat with y'all, so I caught up. I think I'm good, and
we recorded that too as well.
It's been great. Oh yeah,
that building session.
Yeah. Come to Discord.
So between that, I'm still going to be catching up to your the Facoli code too. That's on my list this week. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Yep. You can follow me on all platforms. The Wise One. This is a great episode. I am looking forward to diving into Cairo. Like I still have it right behind the screen here. So as soon as this is over, I'm going to dive right in because it does look interesting. So hopefully we get a chance to talk about that much more. Join the Discord. We're always happy to share knowledge and our experience and things like that and answer some questions. All right. Cool.
Cool.
All right, guys. And until next time,
all right.
we are out.